If you have been looking into the Softube Drawmer 1976 plugin, you're probably wondering, does it live up to the hype? It's modeled after the 1976 hardware, offering 3 individual bands of saturation. Sounds simple, right? Well, sometimes simple is great when it sounds amazing. But does this one? Let's find out. Right out of the gate, I noticed something a bit off. The default setting gives you a near 4 decibel level boost. That's a bit of a shame on Softube's part. Why? Because a boost this big can easily trick you into thinking the plugin sounds better when it's just louder. We all have been there, it's the classic louder is better trap. But once you compensate for that, here's what you actually get. A slight low-end boost and a gradual roll-off from around 500 Hz to 9 kHz. The more noticeable difference happens when we hit the saturation. With the output level reduced by -3 decibel, which I measured earlier, the saturation is immediately noticeable. It glues the mix for sure, but it also pulls back the overall impact because of how hard this mix hits that saturation. Let's check it out with some drums. You can definitely hear the glue. Here they are in the mix. Sound of the plugin does benefit from EQ before you go in. It can get that farty sound in the lower end, regardless of how you set the crossover when you push the saturation. The Softube Drawmer 1976 offers 3 separate bands of saturation. But even focusing on the low end, like with these Fender Rhodes keys, you can still hear that saturation crunch up into the higher frequencies. So if you are looking for deep dark overdrive, this isn't the plugin for that. Now if you want to focus on a specific band, you'll have to use the mute buttons to mute the others. There's no solo button for each band. The crossover between these bands is smooth and you do get bypass switches, so that helps.
So follow me. No, we never have to leave. Just keep on moving, take my hand and feel the beat. Oh, never felt so free. No, we won't turn away, we won't ever fade, live to see a new day. I'll keep you safe.
Now let's talk about the stereo width mode. There's a subtle difference between analog and digital modes, with analog mode giving a slightly wider stereo image. And the stereo width controls per band? They work by adjusting the level of the side signal using a mid-side method, which can widen or narrow the stereo image. But this won't make mono sources stereo. I do love how you can make the low end narrower and the highs wider with these controls. It's very useful for things like vinyl masters. I tried searching for more info on the Softube Drawmer 1976, but guess what? The manual page was broken. Who knows, maybe it's fixed by now. But for now, everything I share in this video is based on my own testing alone. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and hit that little like button to stay up to date on the latest new plugins. There's no oversampling in this plugin. It does alias a bit, but at around -100 decibels when pushed. It's unlikely you will hear that in a full mix. The CPU usage is minimal, about 3% on my system with just 0.1 milliseconds of latency. Now, the dry-wet control on the Drawmer 1976 isn't a perfect blend between the two signals. When I did an A/B test and null test, there was a slight difference. You can barely hear it and it's probably not a deal breaker, but it is curious. When I overlay the rendered version of these, you see that there's a slight difference in waveforms. It also has something to do with phase for sure, as you can see. Doesn't matter? Not really, no. And make sure to flip that phase button like you normally would in mixing, right? Right? Is the Softube Drawmer 1976 plugin a game changer? Not exactly. That said, it could still be super useful for adding density to a mix or fine-tuning the stereo width, especially for the master boss. And as always, try it out for yourself to find out if it fits in your audio toolshed.